I think so. I saw her, right?
I see her. Yeah, just
yeah. Okay. All right, and we're on, Jaron.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I would like to call this special meeting of our board to order on, oh gosh, February 4th at 4:30. The purpose of this meeting is to consider the candidates for the open position, the one that Michelle vacated in December. So we received one application. So we're meeting now to conduct an interview of the candidate. So, hi, Adam.
Hello.
So what we're going to do is we just they're not that difficult. We'll see, if we end up skipping anything, if it seems repetitive or anything else. But we'll kind of go round robin. I know you've answered some of these things in the application you submitted, but as far as us being in public record here now, then we'll be asking you some of the same things. Mm-hmm. So first off, why are you interested in becoming a board member?
Right. I am interested in having a larger role in the community. I moved to Mapleton from Florence about a year ago and have started meeting people, have started to get to know my neighbors. And I think that the school plays such a big role as a place where kids get educated and where they learn social aptitudes and kind of become, grown-ups. And I think it's really important to allow them to grow in a safe place, and like providing an education means so much to development of a person, and I just want to see how I could be involved in that. And I'm planning on starting a family soon with my partner, and I'm just interested to see how the school system here works. And I guess it's kind of diving into that.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, Mizu, you want to go?
Sure. Okay. Are you willing to spend the necessary time to familiarize yourself with the school district's operation, enabling you to function as a contributing member of the board? So it's just sort of like, yeah, and it goes on to, in that vein, like it does take, especially on the beginning, as you get your feet under you as a board member, there's it takes some extra time. So are you comfortable with that?
Yeah. And actually, one of the questions I had, which maybe I'll get to ask later, but was, for resources on how to prepare myself and any reading recommendations, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and we do offer some help on that.
Yeah.
Abby, you want to go?
Yes. Sorry, my kids lost my iPad thing, so I have to go back and forth on my phone.
Totally fine. I'm toggling between screens on my computer. So.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to spend the necessary time to familiarize yourself with the school district's operation, enabling you to function as a contributing member of this board?
Abby, that was the one I just asked him. We're on that. That third one.
Number 3.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Are there aspects of your education and experience that you feel would be especially helpful in this position?
Yeah, I think so. I don't have any formal experience as an educator, but something I do have is I have experience from Peace Corps service where I worked on committees that kind of brought people together around a common goal. Such as, like, for example, we made a village savings and loan association, which brought together individuals from a community to basically save money and give out microloans within its membership. So although, like, yeah, that wasn't involved in education, it kind of did involve being on a board, on organizing people and resources. Besides that, I have coached soccer and got to know some students through coaching and through working at the watershed, through watershed camp. So yeah, but I do feel like I have a lot to learn coming into this position as well.
Great. Mary. Oh,
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
yeah, we can now.
I am at my daughter's dance studio, so if it's noisy, that's why. Okay, I'm actually gonna ask the next three questions because the first two are yes and no, and those are boring for me. I
Okay,
want to ask them,
perfect.
I get some meat and potatoes. So the first question, the first two are just kind of rapid fire. So the first one is, if appointed, would you apply for re-election at the next election?
Yes.
All right, that tracks with what you said in your thing. The second one is, are you willing to assume a leadership role in this community as a member of the body responsible for the management of public schools in this district?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, the third question, which is the one I want to ask you, is what do you believe our schools should be accomplishing? And then why are we not doing so? So what do you believe our schools should be doing, and why are we not doing it?
So I think schools mainly are, based around the student and to provide a general education for students, all the way from kindergarten to 12th grade. And beyond that, giving students opportunities outside of school, whether it's counseling on like building skills to go into higher education, or to some kind of skill-based education, or even going right into the workforce, just providing the kind of skills that are needed to do that. And besides like career development, I think school is like the place where you kind of get socialized and learn where you fit in. And I think school should be able to like provide that space as well. And I think the second part of that question was, actually, could you repeat the second part for me?
Yeah, it's just wanting to drill into what are we not doing to achieve those things.
Right. Yeah, as far as that, I think I don't have the inside information, but like kind of what I hear is that the pandemic did a lot to change the educational system. And it seems like maybe some students being away from like being physically present at school. I'm not sure exactly how Mapleton School District handled COVID, but I assume there was probably some virtual learning. And I just hear anecdotally that students kind of came out of that experience with like a harder time to direct their attention in the classroom setting, as well as just like other mental health issues that arise from the isolation of the lockdown. And so that kind of comes first to mind as, you know, how do you get students back into the mindset of being like cooperative with their peers and with the teachers and getting comfortable in that space away from home. So yeah, again, I don't have the inside information of how coming back from the pandemic into school was, but I imagine there's still some lingering consequences from that.
Sure. Okay. What is the best single thing that you know about our schools?
Right. Well, I think that, you know, it's a smaller population of students, and I've had a few opportunities where I just get to go like walk through the hall, and the atmosphere seems like very relaxed. Like, you know, my experience with high school, for example, was I had a graduating class of like 160, and so it's kind of cool and interesting to see smaller classes, and I think that probably gives students a lot more autonomy of, you know, how, like, in what direction they want their classes to go, and obviously like they get to know their peers on a deeper level, and as well as their like teachers and facilitators, and I think those connections are probably really strong even after they leave um, the school.
I think that's so true. Mizu.
Okay. Okay. This one is
This is
anyway,
hard.
the wording's odd. I'm going to ask it anyway in the way it's worded, but what are your beliefs, and that's the part I think is odd, about the roles of the board and superintendent and the difference between policymaking and administration? The reason I think it's weird that it says beliefs is because, like, I don't know how much you know about that. So, you know, like, that is definitely an integral part of being a board member. So, is understanding that. But so I guess I would change it to, like, you know, do you have an understanding of the roles of the board and the superintendent and the difference between policymaking and administration? And if you do have an understanding of it, then do you have a belief about it?
Right. So I think there's I don't know if that was the exact question off of the application, but maybe there's a similar one. And I kind of tried to look into it, like doing some research, and it sounds like maybe the relationship between the superintendent and the school board is different between each district, obviously, but something like the superintendent is responsible for like carrying out policies like on a day-to-day operational level, while the school board maybe has more of a role in like developing or kind of confirming setting up those policies. But it also sounds like, you know, there's a lot of interaction between the two entities on both levels. Like, I think probably Sue brings forward a lot of information, or has kind of a big voice on the issues because she's just, you know, more present day to day, and kind of the school board acts as like a backup to, you know, how can we assist in like carrying out your vision, or how do we aid to like, yeah, just kind of like develop the thought around an issue a little better.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
What criteria do you use in evaluating educational programs?
Right. What criteria used to evaluate educational programs? Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe there's programs that like have a stated outcome, or maybe that do capture data, whether it's from like scores or some kind of hard data. I guess programs could be educational, or like I think there's like nutritional assistance programs. So each program will probably have different metrics that you're measuring, and I'm sure if it's grant funded, then the funders will ask for certain things. So that's kind of a hard question without more context, I think. But
I agree. A couple of these are tough when you haven't been in it yet. Like,
yeah,
hard for any of us to grasp then, and then you just learn more and more each year. So,
yeah.
Okay, Mary.
Yeah. Okay, this question is a little patronizing, so I'm gonna ask it and then I'm gonna ask a follow-up. So the question is, do you realize the need for confidentiality? Can you protect it? And then maybe you could like give an example of like where in your life or in your work or in past experiences, whether that was in the Peace Corps or in your current job, where confidentiality protection is being utilized.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously I do recognize that. And I guess I have a few recent examples. Well, yeah, I'll just go with one example where we were hiring for a seasonal position within the Watershed Council, someone to be on the crew. And as the crew lead, I was involved in, reviewing resumes and interviewing and being a part of that selection process. And we had maybe like three people applying for the position, and one of them happened to be my roommate. And so she applied, and like obviously I wanted her to like, I mean I had like it was a difficult place to be in, because I kind of had this conflict of interest, being the person to interview her, like her being my friend, and yet like I knew I couldn't give her any information like about the other candidates, and I was very careful not to just say like, yes, I think you'll get it, and like I don't think you should look into other jobs. So I didn't really give her anything, which was kind of hard because like the closeness of our relationship. But partly it wasn't my decision alone to make, and partly I wanted to remain impartial and just trust the process of selecting the best person for the job.
That was a good example. Okay. Well, this one's kind of feels the same way like Mary just said before. Can you be supportive of our schools?
Yeah, I think I can. I think I have the energy and the patience to learn what that looks like, and how I'm needed.
Perfect.
All right.
Me too.
Okay. Okay, if you disagree with others, can you separate this difference and go ahead as a team member after the vote is taken? And this one would be another one. If if an example comes to mind, this would be a great one to provide an example on.
Right. So I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, if you disagree with others, can you separate this difference and go ahead as a team member after the vote is taken? Because the school board operates like, we are a majority, rules, not a consensus. And so, but the sort of the advice given about boards is you can disagree in discussion and everything, and you can, vote your vote, and then, but then be supportive of the entity if it moves forward, regardless of whether you support, like you were on which side of the vote you were on. So.
Right. Yeah. And I think, like you said, maybe disagreements, bring about more discussion, which can be helpful. And like, I believe that, discussion around an issue is good. Like it's good to understand like the opposite viewpoint of your own. Even if you still don't agree at the end, like it's good to be able to like explain the opposing view to someone, or just understand where someone's coming from. And I think a disagreement like within the school board, it would be a good way to unify like around like we're doing this for students and not for our own self or our own belief, but like at the end of the day, like everyone on the board should be able to do like what's right for the school board and for the students in the district. And if I'm thinking of an example,
and you don't have to provide an example, but it's just one that was like, oh,
okay, yeah, nothing like immediately came to mind like the other ones. So
yeah. Okay, no problem. Okay, Abby, that's you then. Oh, you're still muted.
So sorry. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Are you willing to let administrators administer the system while the Board of Education serves as policy makers?
Yeah, and I think that kind of bumps up against the other question from earlier, kind of in separating the role of like policy and administrating that policy.
Okay. And last one, Mary.
Yeah. The last one's asking about training. So the first part is, do you believe in service training for board members? But the more important part is like, are you willing to participate in such meetings? I know that as a board, we've discussed actually kind of filling out what our roles are going to be, which might take some more time outside of our typical monthly board meetings. So just trying to, garner that commitment to participating in that like kind of extra time outside of the board meetings.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and coming into it without as much experience as maybe the other board members have, like I would definitely jump at the opportunity to get more training, or yeah, to do what I can.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for all your answers. That's it for our questions. So now we're curious to know what your questions are.
Yeah. There was a question on the application that went something like, what do you think the two biggest challenges will be in the next 2 years? And I was just wondering, like what you all thought on that. Like, I feel like you're in a better position to answer.
That's good. Well, I think I think you heard one of them that we're facing right now when we were discussing the charter situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I mean, it's a challenge in the sense of, so it's kind of a lot of legwork ahead of time. Like Mizu and I are trying to facilitate meeting with people and getting their concerns and educating people and educating ourselves. And is this the right decision? Is it going to work out positively, whichever way we decide? You know, did we make the right decision in the end? So that's I know one of the biggest challenges right now is trying to figure this out, because we'd love to figure it out in time to, if we make a change, make it for next year. So I would think that's one big one that we're all facing, trying to work through. Does anyone else have any other ones?
That's the one I was going to say too, since that's really foremost on my mind right now.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, I don't know that it's the biggest challenge or anything, but like, you know, we have a small school and a small community, and in a way that's a real strength with involvement and everything, but in a way that's also like, there's not as many people to fill different roles, and sort of like, you know, roles that sometimes get filled in bigger schools, like with like, I don't know, like a PTA and a booster club and things like that. Like, we have people who do some of that work, for sure. But it's not, we don't have a hugely like formal structure for a lot of that stuff. And I think that it's always a challenge to like, and one that the board is part of helping to think about and fix, which is, or like, you know, contribute to solutions, is like how to try and involve everybody and give everybody as much of a role as possible, so that we have like a real vital, you know, well-supported school. So I guess, I don't know that that's like, it's not like a looming challenge or anything, but it is something that just kind of, you know, like it's there, and it's something to consider.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other thing that, I don't know if it's a challenge, but something that we'll need to just be paying, you know, a little bit closer attention to, is there are a lot of things happening at the legislative level, and we do rely a lot on our superintendent to kind of stay on top of those things. And you know, we have a really good relationship with our superintendent and keeping us informed, but I just think that, you know, with running a school and being a principal and all of those things, we as a board are also going to need to take on a little bit more responsibility in keeping like abreast of what's happening at like higher levels, and keeping those lines of communication open, just to make sure that like those decisions that are being made for our district are just being very mindful of like what might be coming down the pipeline. Jaren also is really good about keeping an eye on things that are going to affect maybe our budget or our bottom line, but just you know, some funds or some policies or things like that that might affect us are definitely changing or being talked about changing. And so just working really closely together as a team, and not just like trusting Sue to just, you know, have everything at a meeting for us to just like yay, nay, or whatever, and actually like doing our part to be informed and make informed decisions and chat through things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good point. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, and actually, I think Mizu's answer really touched on this, but I was going to ask, like, as a board, how do you seek out community engagement? Or, you know, if you have something you're excited about starting, like who do you go to, or how do you try to garner that involvement from parents or from like the broader community?
If it's something we're, I assume you're talking about something we're on a mission for, right? Like it's coming from us, not from community members into the school. But if it's coming from us, we're kind of doing that now as far as straight from the board. And we honestly rely on Sue a lot to get to any of those people for us. Like she helped us arrange a meeting with the staff, and then called upon some students to meet when we were meeting with students about the charter. And she would do the same for us if we needed to, when we need to meet with a community. That will kind of make more blanket statements, whether we go fishing for that on our own, but we will have her like post it places. Word of mouth is always great. You're welcome to go facilitate and encourage and tell people about things that we're doing or we're trying to do or that are happening soon. The school's been doing a lot of community engagement stuff too. So it's kind of easy to facilitate through them. You know, they've kind of gotten it down, right, Mizu, as far as like gathering families together for discussions. That would be my answer to it.
Yeah.
Anyone can add to that.
Yeah, I mean, like there's never enough of it, right? Like that, I think you're right. Like the stuff that Andrew just said, there's, you know, that's all that is really good stuff in a way that we do interact with the community and with people. But like there's always room for more. You know, it's never enough. Like to be like, oh, we've completely covered that base and done everything we can there. So there's that. I was not sure if you were like, I mean, if you're thinking like as a board member, like how do you get involved in something in the school so that you also like have, you know, like are involved and are there and available to like talk to and like interact with as a board member, you know, or whatever. Like I wasn't sure if your question was coming from that space also.
Yeah, I think kind of from both, like as a board member, what do we do to engage the community, but also like as a board member, like receiving ideas and like making connections for other people.
Yeah, because that's something if we all kind of do it differently, I think.
Yeah.
Talking, you know, as you're talking to people, they learn what your role is or that you are part of this, then they'll come to you with ideas. They'll come to you with concerns and complaints as well. But once they learn that, then you learn, you know, when you can go to people, get them excited about stuff. Going to some of the school things kind of helps, like whether it's attending athletic events or other types of events, helps get you out there as part of it. And then people kind of see you as that role of like, okay, they're participating too. I can come to them with ideas. They're part of the community and being involved in that way, but are part of the board and the school. But yeah, don't be afraid to talk to people about stuff. Then they start to be more welcome to talk to you or any of us.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. And then I just had one last question, kind of end on a positive note. Is like, in your role, what has been like one area that has been like rewarding or satisfying to be involved in, like either on a professional or personal level?
I mean, I can answer quickly. For me, I think both things. Really, my favorite part is like trying to be somebody that like facilitates like connections that result in something good. And you know, whether that's like both on a personal level and on a board level. Like I want our board to be able to support things like starting the preschool program and, you know, like, and doing the much, you know, like shouldering the huge kind of like undertaking of the bond that's provided funding to, you know, to do a lot of not needed capital improvement around the district and, you know, stuff like that. Like, I really like trying to be a part of the motion forward to do that, to do those kinds of things. So
I would, I like that, I mean, it's the way we've worked together as a board. And then I think we would continue to work together. I think it's a pretty positive place in the sense that we all, it's not like we have to make sure we're getting along. We all hear each other out, and we don't agree on everything. And we'll continue to not agree on everything. That's just going to keep happening. But we all still work together well, respect each other's thoughts and opinions and concerns and conversations. Yet we still, like it said in that one question, can you move on past that after a decision's been made? And we can, and we still work together while still, understanding each other and respecting other people's feelings and thoughts about it. So.
For me, there have been a couple of standout moments. When I first came on the board, we were navigating the retiring of our previous superintendent and hiring a new one, and that was a pretty big accomplishment, and also quite the crash course into like what a board does, how they hire, all of the things. So that was big. I also have gotten to experience the negotiations, like salary negotiations one time through. And so this year is going to be another one. And so also just being able to, that was a really rewarding experience. Really trying to show our teachers and our classified staff that we value them and we want to make sure that they are being paid a wage and they have the benefits that are befitting a district even at our size. That was very rewarding and an amazing accomplishment, and working together as a board through that was really exciting and came out positively. And then lastly, there have been a couple of times that like the community, you'll find that sometimes like there'll just be a whisper of something that happens in the community, and the community might not have all of the information, and they, there's a lot of talks, social media does a lot of things, like all sorts of stuff. And so the community will just be like, all right, we're coming down there. And every time that has happened, we've been able to navigate those situations in ways that have shown that like Mapleton's resilience and like our willingness as a board to have tough conversations, and the community's willingness to have tough conversations with us. And working through a few of those situations has been difficult, but also has shown has just reinforced for me like the commitment to how strong our community is, and like how our service to them and to these kids is maybe the most important thing that I do.
Thank you.
I think, yeah. So I think I had written down here what's similar to what Mary said, like being able to be in the know with what's going on at the school, and then being able to share that with different community members, and because maybe they're not always in the know and they're not keeping up on things, but they still want to know. And so being able to offer that information to them, and that they can form an opinion or not or whatever. And then also one other thing that I recently have like seen and been kind of proud of is like we do an evaluation for like the superintendent every year. And I really think that there have been some improvements made from that, and that our input has been, taken seriously by our superintendent. And, and she's been able to come to us and be like, I need this, this, and this, and felt comfortable and heard. And then, also being able to hear from different staff, whether it be aides or teachers or whoever, and maybe hearing their concerns or complaints or whatever, and then being able to kind of come to the table and be like, okay, this is what we're hearing and what can we do about it? And then, then turn that makes them feel heard and, like they're valued. So that's been rewarding as well. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. I think that's all I had to ask. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for, making this time and considering me.
Did anyone else have any other follow-up questions or anything?
I do not.
Okay. Well, so now, I guess we discuss our candidates, but, I'm pleased that this was, one of the candidates that, wanted to apply and took the time to do so. So thank you very much, Adam. I loved your application and all the things that you at least took to heart and made sure to say. And, if there were other ones, I think this would have very well stood out. So, does anyone else have any other thoughts on our interview or our assessment of filling this position?
I'm just excited to not be I'm just excited to have someone just as clueless as me come in.
Oh, you've learned. You're fully experienced now, Abby.
Yeah, you do. Everyone feels super clueless and dumb for like a while. I still like rely on the more experienced board members. One of them decided to leave, and so now I'll just rely on Mizu. The next ancient board member of being on it for a very long time. Otherwise, it was Michelle. She was the grandmother board member that like she would remember things from decades ago. So we're all relatively new, but yeah, you would get to be the newbie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still second guess myself whether you motion it or second it. I don't know. I'm like fleeting.
I do tend to turn and ask, like, do we vote on this? Do I have to? I don't even remember that we have to actually move to end the meeting, which I think is silly, but we do. And so I tend to forget that. Well, then, if no one else has comments or questions, Mary, do you have anything?
No, I don't.
Then, Abby, I would entertain a motion. What's the verbiage I use, Mizu?
Entertain a motion to approve Adam Cook's appointment to the board in whatever position it is. I can't remember.
What position number it is.
5?
Jaren?
Yeah, I think it was number 5.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. Look at you. You're already working. You're already working and telling us what it is. I was thinking 5, but I was not sure. Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve approve Adam Cook for the board position 5.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, you can raise your hand since we're all on screen. All right, that's unanimous, Jaren. All right, well, welcome aboard, Adam.
There is a swearing in statement that he's supposed to.
Do I have it?
I'll put it up on the screen here.
Thank you. And then you have to say this and write it in blood or something.
Mm-hmm. I know you wanted to start a family, but we get your firstborn. It's a whole thing.
Okay, I see it. I, Adam Cook, do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and the laws of the state of Oregon, and the policies of Mapleton School District Number 32. During my term, I will faithfully and impartially discharge the responsibilities of the office to the best of my ability.
You should be able to put one side in.
Yay.
Sorry, I muted myself. Thank you. Okay. Well, that's that. You will get to come to your first board meeting in 2 weeks.
Hey,
And I
okay.
will.
Yeah, are we?
Welcome
Sorry.
back.
Go ahead.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Jaren will set you up with the email and all of that. And then Sue will do like an onboarding thing with you. I don't know if you want like hard copies as I didn't, but like Jody had a huge book of like all the policies,
Binder,
but they
yeah.
change, and so you don't necessarily need a binder, but you absolutely can have one. So yeah, just be planning on a bit of onboarding. Hopefully, in the next, month or so, like within the next month, that'll all happen. And
Yeah, I couldn't guarantee that it would happen in the next 2 weeks, but over the next month it will.
yeah.
Everyone gets busy.
Mhm.
Great. Sounds great.
Okay, so mark your calendar for every third Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And then when we book your time elsewhere too. That's always a fun one.
Yeah.
Not that often, but it does happen. Okay, everyone. Do we have to move to end this meeting too?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. I would entertain that motion.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for spending the time doing that. Thanks for doing such an awesome application. I'm excited for you to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to join. I love how respectful you all are to each other, and yeah, I'm ready to join. Thank you.
All right. So see you soon. Good to see everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.